Hey, my friend. So today on the Freedom Parent Podcast, we're talking about how to buy your time back in order to grow your business faster. Stay tuned. All right, Harold, let's dive into this. How you buy more time to grow your business faster and gain freedom, right?
I don't know. Are you looking for me to agree with you?
You should.
You said, I heard someone say that on a podcast. God, I forgot who it was. Or I don't know if it was a reel. I don't know what it was. But they were like, you notice this, people in these days, they're always saying right. And I do too. I do it all the time. And it's like it's like you're trying to get affirmation from someone that you're right. And I'm like, no, actually not. And then I heard some high level people actually say right when they were talking. I was like, see, he ain't trying to get affirmation. He's $100 million man.
Yeah. We're just looking for a little head nod, like, yeah.
It's just, yeah.
You get what I'm putting
That's
down here?
That's when people start nitpicking and overcomplicating everything.
Oh, don't.
Chill the frig out, man.
Right. Like, are we talking outsourcing or are we talking overthinking?
Yeah.
Pivot? No.
So we're talking outsourcing. Yeah. How you can, I guess, leverage.
Yeah.
Leverage your time. Focus on your strengths, things on where you excel at.
Yeah.
And give the rest to people who excel at those other things.
Mm-hmm. Why is this even important? Because this is a podcast for entrepreneurial people.
Yeah.
Or people that are coming into learning how to be an entrepreneur. And, this is the Freedom Parent Podcast. So we do have a lot of parents listening.
Yeah.
And even if you're not, we have people who are multi-passionate about lots of things. And
they have a lot of interests.
A lot of interest. And honestly, too, if you are moving into the entrepreneurial space, there's a lot of different seasons in that. And learning how to work harder and smarter. There's a harder, the people that say, learn how to work smarter, not harder. No, you're going to have seasons where you're working harder and smarter.
Yeah.
So that's gotta happen. But also too, protecting rest, protecting having the time to spend time with people that you love, having time to take care of your personal health. And honestly, here's the basis of this whole topic. Like, you cannot do it all, or you can try to do it all and die trying.
And we all have 24 hours.
Yes.
That's the thing. We're all playing the same game or under the same parameters of time. Yeah. 24 hours.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and the topic of outsourcing for especially new entrepreneurs is tricky. It can be a little tricky. There's a lot of feelings around this. Mm-hmm. There's guilt, there's fear, there's perceptions from other people that a lot of people deal with. There's also that some people are just so stubborn, like we were too, and are having trouble just letting go of some things.
It kind of frames into, as you're saying that, I was thinking back when you said we were having trouble letting go. And I can remember like some of the things we began to outsource. It was because of that mindset of kind of ties into like when you're stepping over dollars to pick up nickels. Mm-hmm. So it kind of goes into that mindset or that framework of, hey, if I can actually pay someone to do something that anyone could do to where I can go focus on actually earning some income, then that's worth
that's a smart
effort.
move.
It's a smart move.
Yeah.
But it was hard for us to come to that conclusion because we were pretty tight. But anyway, I don't know how you're going to flow through this, so I don't want to jump ahead, but
flow through it however you want to flow through it.
No, but I think it is. I think you said sometimes it's the guilt of accessing more help because you're like, I can do this. I can fold some towels. I can do some dishes. I can push the vacuum around.
Yep.
I can cut the grass. I've heard people.
I should be able to do it.
I've heard someone tell me, they tried to convince me.
That they liked?
That their brother was such a bad person because he paid for someone to cut their grass. He said, because he thought he was above that.
Are you serious?
I said, I don't know if he thought he was above that. I said, maybe, and this is actually a real conversation. I said, you ever thought that maybe your brother just valued that 2 hours to spend with his family instead of cutting grass? I still don't think he followed, but
I remember when you got your Saturday mornings back, because most of the time you were cutting the grass. This obviously was when we didn't live in Arizona.
But we had grass, actually.
We do have grass. I remember when you got your mornings back, because also at this point, we were growing our passion project, our side hustle, and then we had our quote unquote RJ, our real job, that took up a whole week and then some. And I remember when you got those mornings back, it was like you were up making us breakfast, or like that's Papa's grits, kind of. Yeah. I think they started then, honestly, like way back then when you got your mornings back, because you had time to do something else. What? Papa's grits?
Oh, I'm thinking I'm going to make some Papa grits. I had a little bag sitting right here. For those of you,
man,
watching
new
the video.
Brand coming to you.
HP's Papa grits.
Papa grits.
But anyway.
Oh man, but it was so lovely. I know a lot of people are just falling again into routine and habit of what they have known or seen, and most of us have grown up to parents that cut their own grass or did their own laundry and cleaned their own house, right? But also a lot of us grew up to very stressed out parents too, and very tired parents. You sent me this picture of, it was like this statue of a dad and a son. It was like a rock sculpture or something. And it was the dad had a bunch of holes in him. The holes that were taken from the dad actually were used to construct the statue of the son.
Yeah.
And and this relates to outsourcing, so everybody hang with me, but why are parents constantly taking pieces of themselves and feel kind of incomplete and or tired or just completely burnt out is because they have to typically, or think they have to, do it all and do so much.
Yeah.
And there, like you said, when we started talking just a few minutes ago, there's only 24 hours in every day.
Yeah.
There's only 7 days to a week. There's only so many days in a year. And you fill your time, you fill your calendar, you decide how you spend it, right?
Yeah. And I mean, don't get me wrong. I did find some fulfillment, and I used to do some painting. And there is some gratification in that.
Yeah. There's little home projects here and there, right? You might just decide you want to do that.
Self gratification, instant gratification type of thing. And I was good at it. And so it didn't take me long. These days, though, really not doing much of that because I just, value different things now. I think it's knowing that I can do it too. So it's like I know how to change the oil on a car. I ain't changing no oil in my car. I know how to do it. Done it. Dad taught me how to do that. I know how to cut grass. I know how to patch drywall.
You know how to change a tire.
I ain't doing how to change a tire. I ain't doing all that. I think but knowing how to do it and have some skills to be able to do that if I had to do it. I think there's some value in that. But I honestly think some people, like cutting grass, I used to love driving on the grass. I think some people use it as, it's like solace for them to kind of just escape all the noise and spend an hour or two on the lawnmower drinking a cold pop and going through that. But there comes a point when you got to say, am I escaping life? Is that what my life is down to? Is to have 2 hours to ride around in circles on a lawnmower? That's what. That could be a whole nother topic. So we need to stay. I need to.
Well, then TV would fall into that category, but actually also too the grass cutting, because this is legit things that we have to.
But you convince yourself of that.
Oh yeah.
Oh, but that's my alone time. That's my time. I'm like, you know what? Maybe it is. Maybe it's not. But if you have but for those of you who are looking to expand and grow. Bigger, better things that you find is bigger and better. The riding on the lawnmower wasting 2 hours isn't going to cut it.
And I have something to say about that.
I guess it'll cut it, but not cut it like.
Cut it. No, that's good. I like it. And we work people through these kind of things often, and like legit another reason would be like, oh, it's my exercise. And both to, oh, it's my peaceful time or it's my exercise. I want to challenge you right now. I want, like, can you find something else also that would be even more peaceful? Like, what if you took that time back and you were ending your day by getting into scripture or personal development, or you started your day that way? Don't you think that that would be fulfilling and also peaceful and also constructively putting things in your brain too that you can benefit from? To the exercise point, do you really want to get your exercise from cutting the grass, or could you expand it and grow into your fitness goals and say, you know what, if I didn't have to cut my grass, I could be doing a couch to 5K program.
Yeah.
I could be hitting the gym.
They ain't nobody pushing no lawnmower. They riding around in circles. But
right. I guarantee you someone's gonna be like, I push it.
But a lot of it is like you wrote down some things here, and it's true. It's like guilt or excuses for outsourcing, right? Or requiring more help it's because you like to, like we just said. It's I should be able to. That's old stinking thinking and conditioned thoughts from mediocrity frame. I can't afford it. Who am I to have a housekeeper? Who am I to have someone clean my house? Well, I don't know. I'm employing somebody. What about you? Mm-hmm. Mr. or Mrs. Who am I? You got to abandon that thought, that thought of nobility. I'm actually employing someone, helping them feed their family by having them come over and help clean my house. What will people, so it's framework. It's reframing things. What will people think? I'm just going to laugh at that one. But
God.
yeah. So
who cares what people think? But you will. Some will care what people think. And then there's a great saying, you know what? Other people's opinions won't pay your bills.
Yeah,
so
exactly. Try cashing that.
Leave that right there.
Yeah.
And if you're going to say, who am I to have someone clean your house? Who are you to be a millionaire? Who are you to build a successful, thriving business? And it's like, well, who are you not to be? You know, these are all things that we are learning to be and become. These are all things we're growing into. And to neglect something as small and simple, but also big as learning to outsource, learning to bless someone else that is chosen to work in that being their talent. Like someone loves landscaping and loves feeding their kids from doing landscaping and gaining jobs there. Like, who are we to say that individual shouldn't be getting more jobs to do that, you know?
That's who's winning when you're winning. That's a whole other topic too. But I like the way you framed it up. You said outsourcing. I think once you get past those concepts, because that's all those are, concepts, excuses, and conditioning. Once you get past those, it's to really start focusing on, you put HLAs, high leverage activities, or non-income producing activities versus income producing activities.
Yeah, NIPA versus IPA. Let's explain that.
Yeah. And when we're speaking on these podcasts, we're obviously speaking to people who desire more, who desire more abundance, who desire, because other people that don't, they're tuned us out anyway, or
right, they're not coming to the Freedom Parent podcast. you're not here.
Yeah. So expand on where you were going with that.
Well, if you are moving into an entrepreneurial life, an entrepreneurial mindset, discernment, like anyone listening, watching this on YouTube, write down, discernment is going to be something that if you cultivate this in your life is going to help you so much. And this will be an area where you get to flex that muscle. When you're deciding what you keep, like what do you actually need to do in order to grow your income, to make your goals become a reality? Literally, like write it down. What is a necessity for you to do to spend your time in order to make those things happen? That is an income producing activity, or as we say, IPA. Is that a beer too?
Yeah.
It's just random.
That's why I say IPA, not IPA.
IPA. Now we're thinking about it's 5:00 somewheres, but so those are your income producing activities, and or you can be called a high leverage activity. That is something that moves you forward, the dial forward in reaching your goals or helping other people reach their goals. Non-income producing activity is anything outside of that.
Right.
You might find cutting your grass very fulfilling, but it's not going to help you grow your health or business coaching practice.
Right.
It's not going to help you grow your small business unless your small business is landscaping.
Yeah,
well,
exactly.
Then, yeah. Okay.
Otherwise, it's just deducting and eating up part of your 24 hours that you have like everybody else.
Yeah.
And that's when you really got it. That's why we're outsourcing really is a leverage. It's leveraging. It's leveraging the time you have to move the dial forward, because we got so many responsibilities and we got so many things that we want to do, that if we could eliminate some of the things that are just common everyday things that we don't have to do. And then, you know, to some people, it is income. It's like, well, I can't afford to yet to hire someone to maybe clean the house. Well, you know, first I'll say, well, you can't afford not to. You got to change the way you're thinking. And also, you could find ways to cut something somewhere else. Cut out. Everyone beats up poor Starbucks. And I won't say poor Starbucks, but everyone beats up Starbucks. It's like, oh, cut out the coffee, cut out this, cut out that. There's a list of things that you can cut. And it's not that you got to get a professional house cleaner that comes to your house every day or every week. Maybe it's once a month. Maybe they come in, they do a deep clean once a month.
Once a month.
Yeah. Then maybe it goes to every 2 weeks.
Shoot, now I have every week, and our house stays clean for 2 days.
And some daily, actually, to some extent.
Yeah.
And you grow into that. And the amount of the peace of mind that it does to remove that, even when we did it once a month, oh man. See, a lot of things clutter your mind. Like, to have the responsibility of cutting the grass and doing all that work. It clutters the mind. It weighs on the mind. To have to clean the house clutters the mind.
Yes.
To have to do the laundry clutters the mind. And it gets in the way.
Yeah.
And whenever you release that and you get it out the way, man, it really opens up room for more creativity, less anxiety, which is more creativity. And you find a way. You do. But you got to just start off micro, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Micro little things.
I think I might have just messed up your real moment, because I was so into what you were saying, and I kind of spoke over you. I hate when I do that, but you're so right, because a confused mind does nothing, right? And we have to think about eliminating pressure and stress. Pressure and stress will kill the biggest of dreamers. And I'm a firm believer, everyone has potential in them. It's how good do you get at removing the obstacles and barriers along the way that aren't a necessity for you to give your energy or time.
Yeah.
And let's just face it too, we're talking about income producing activities, like freeing yourself up to work in your genius of the things that you actually do need to do to make your goals a reality. But let's talk about this too. We have 4 kids. And when we started growing this business, it was 2, and then it was 3, and now we have 4. And it is, not only is it essential for us to be wise about where we spend our time so we can grow our business and work and mentor people, work with and mentor people that we mentor and help people get healthy. It's essential that we remove anything we don't need to be doing so that we get to do the thing that we really, really love being, which is parents, you know, and also spouses, you know, like
it's spending time with each other. You know, your bandwidth, it gets cluttered, and it clutters your mind. And then you're caught in the same rut year after year, week after week, month after month, year after year, because you're just caught in that scattered, cluttered bandwidth. Yeah. So you got to free up some bandwidth so you make room for the high leverage activities like you spoke about. But so what's where can people kind of start? You know, we walked them through, I guess, somewhat of you know, their guilt and excuses and all those concepts and excuses and conditioning. And then we walked through the high leverage activities versus the non-income. And we spoke about, you know, that also provides income to other people too. And
poo-poo on everyone that wants to say you're too big for your britches because someone's cleaning your house or whatever. You know, or she's got a nanny. What? You got your kids in school?
Right.
Like, hush.
So where's a few things I like it you put here. You said where.
So let me say where don't to start. Where not to start. Unless you have the finances to do this. Don't be like, I'm going to hire a personal chef to come to my house every single day of the week. Like,
yeah, don't be dumb.
And I use that as a reference only to say, don't start with the most expensive thing if you don't have the income to do it.
Well, let me say something to that too, is because we've actually had people we've mentored that actually outsource some things. and they did absolutely nothing with that time.
Oh, yes.
But scroll on Facebook and waste time. Like, actually take that time and apply it to a high leverage activity or an income producing activity, something that's going to build your business, whether it's starting conversations, meeting new people, whether it's working on a website, building a website, filming videos, I don't know, whatever it is that moves the dial forward in your business.
Yes.
Going out, handing out damn flyers. I don't know what it is, but use that hour that you'd have been folding freaking towels to go do that. The problem is when you spend the money and then you don't do anything with that.
Or
you watch TV or you're in Target or you're,
Okay, that was a real thing I had to learn, actually. One of the things that and you could start here if your parents, we outsourced was childcare. Started simple with some Mother's Day out programs. They're very flexible too, especially for the mom that knows that she still wants to spend a great bulk of her day with her kids, but does need a good 3 to 4 hours or to just focus, get some things done. It's the perfect chunk. And it put a little pressure. It put good pressure on me because I was like, you only have this amount of time.
Yeah, structural tension.
Get the most important things done within this time frame. However, when we first started using it, the preschool was very close to Target. There was a whole drop the kids off and whoa, Target.
That's why we're speaking from mistakes. It's like, hey, learn from our mistakes. You don't have to go through it.
So not only were we spending extra money on childcare, I was spending extra money on Target. Because, I don't know if anyone's like me, but I can't go in Target and get one thing or two things. It's almost...
I could never pull in the parking lot and be fine.
And there's like a cup of coffee thing that you have to have while you're walking through Target, like home goods and the whole thing. So actually I used it as structural tension though, is what I did because I did enjoy that
I just don't get that.
I made myself I know you don't get this, but other moms,
it's like a big walls of junk. Like
I know,
there's nothing in there that you buy is going to make you money
so
or do anything. Like it makes no sense. Anyway, all right.
It feels so good. I just, I'm so glad that you don't feel the same way because
I'm going to go on a rant.
We would be like a hot mess if you enjoyed that. So it's good. The differences are good. But back to the point, outsourcing, childcare, use it wisely. Do put yourself under the limited pressure. It doesn't, so many people start thinking, do I need a nanny to come to my house 5 days a week? Maybe. I don't know. I don't know, how much income you're making or how long you've waited. Here's a key point. How long have you waited to decide that you can't do it all and you feel like you're about to go batshit crazy and like, I need help? If you've waited way too long, maybe you do need a nanny who comes to your house 3 to 4 days a week or something. In our business model, we hardly ever work a 5-day work week. But for most people, a lot of people that are listening to us now, it could be 2 days. Like it could be 2 days, 3 hours. It might be 2 hours, like depending on where your business at, to be real about if you had X amount of focused time, what would you be able to do with it? That's good enough. And then progressively as your business grow and your responsibilities grow, you branch out. You can branch out from there. It could be babysitters, mother day out program, preschools. It can be, like I said, it could be a nanny. It could be a family member. If you want this bad enough, you think outside of the box and you figure out how to create the structure you need so you can work. But also my goal was so I could mostly be mom,
Yeah. Yep.
So next area would be like home. We talked a lot about landscaping at the beginning of this, but there's a good examples within that.
That's repairs and handyman. I remember when we left on our trip, they got a damn cup trapped in the garbage disposal, glass cup. And I said, well, right when we were leaving. So I said, call a handyman and get it fixed. And so when we get back, I don't have to deal with it. And come to find out by the time we got back, they were scheduled out so far that I still had to fix it. But we moved forward to get it fixed because the thought of coming home and having to deal with it, even though I could deal with it. So I think that's sometimes people's mindset. Because I even said, no, I can do that when I get back. And you're like, no, you don't need to worry about that. And I'm like, you're right. Pay to whatever it is and get it done. I still ended up having to do it because they were booked out.
But the point is you let it go and you were willing just to have it done versus needing to be the one who did it, and having the freedom of coming home to a problem you didn't need to fix.
It's like groceries. People spend, how much time do you spend in a grocery store? Like now we just have people shop for us. The groceries. Deliver them to
We
the
started
door.
that before it was cool.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
I remember actually someone when we started, because it was several years ago, it was like when the apps first came out, it was like God was speaking to me and he was like, Samantha, all your prayers have been answered. You don't have to go to the grocery store. You don't have to load them up. You don't have to handle one baby on your hip, another one crying in the cart, and the other asking you for a stuffed animal. You don't have to unload it. You don't have to your prayers have been answered. There's an app.
Well,
And wait, somebody said, it's literally said, oh, Sam, don't you think you've gone too far now? And I was like, my mouth dry. I not many comments will deflate me, but that one kind of, for a second, got me. And I was like, no, I actually don't think it's gone. I think I'm a highly capable businesswoman and a mom. And I think this is a very smart thing to do.
well, yeah. Yeah, 100%. And think about it. I mean, hear my heart. You think about how you're actually, and you're you're helping to provide someone with a job.
Mm-hmm.
So the people who's thinking the other way, you're blocking people from making a living. I'm helping people make a living.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, funny. I was teaching a couple of moms on the benefits of what to outsource, and this was one of them. And someone brought up, and this is a concept, and I had it at first too, but they're like, oh, but they never pick out good produce, or what if they bring you bad produce? I was like, it's happened a couple times, but most of the time not.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know. It's fine. Sometimes I've picked out the wrong produce.
Our world
get
does
it
not,
home and I'm
our
like,
world does
oh
not end.
man, I didn't look at the bottom.
See, that's the thing actually, as we're saying this, that's the thing with outsourcing, like my goal is to outsource. We're pretty much there. We're really close. I think in the next 12 months, we'll probably have literally everything outsourced that we really don't want to mess with. Because some things I do hold tight on to a little bit because I can be a little more controlling in certain things. It took me a year to let our assistant book my flights because I was very particular about the times of my flights and where I wanted to sit and different things. And finally, I just started letting her do it, but letting her know, nope, I don't want that flight. Nope, that don't work.
Yeah.
So now she knows. So anyway, but we're getting really close because, again, I gamify it. And the name of the game is to outsource as much as I can, but you got to make more money to outsource more things. And what happens is through that process, and this is another paradigm shift. You hear me use that word all the time because that's what has to happen, is another way of thinking, right? Looking through another lens. And who wins when you win? So if I'm winning at a level or you're winning at a level that provides you with the income that provides you a way to outsourcing and hiring people to do these day-to-day tasks that don't require you to do it so you can do things that you love or things that grow your business forward, who wins because you're winning? Because when you're winning at a higher level, well, guess what? My landscaper is winning because I'm giving him X amount of dollars a year that he can have for his family. The guy who details my cars, he's winning because I'm winning because I can hire him and provide him with income. My housekeeper, who's winning? She's winning because I'm winning. So it's all a paradigm shift. So to me, when you're at the level that you're outsourcing a lot of things, a lot of people are winning because I chose to win and you choose to win.
Another huge thing that I let go of was laundry. I didn't write it down, but I was like, I think this needs to be said. Like,
I think we said that, yeah.
I haven't done our kids' laundry, well, except for holidays, in like years.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And so I do have the experience of, and I spent many, many years doing it. It always was needed to be done at night, on weekends. There was like whole day of Sunday folding clothes, especially the more kids you have. But the blessing to this now is then I never appreciated it. So when a holiday rolls around and for a week I am doing the laundry or, I actually sit there and I look at their tiny little clothes. I'm like, oh, this is so cute, and like, this is so special. And versus the just dreading it every single week, Yeah. So we'll move on to financial.
Yeah, I mean, no one likes that. So, I mean, like for us, for instance,
no one likes that.
We're just
Is
giving
there really
you,
no one that likes it?
Giving you, I don't think they like doing their taxes. I mean, there's people that
Yeah.
actually do their taxes, I think. Like
It's a special breed if you like that.
H&R Block sites or stuff. Like, I don't know. I'm not messing with that. I'm going to hire someone a hell of a lot smarter than me. Like, actually, we're upgrading. Like, we went through the process. I think we're on our 4th CPA. It's about every 3 years I considered an upgrade because of where we are at and how robust our financial situation is. So again, that's a game of mine. I want to continue to upgrade. You know, I don't know. Maybe in 4 years I got to upgrade again. I mean, hopefully the one I'm hiring now can keep up. But yeah, so it's like the bookkeeping. I don't want to bookkeep. That's a nightmare. So we hired a bookkeeper a long time ago. I had that implemented 10 years ago. I just said CPA, financial planners. I stay on top of it. Like I still educate myself, and I'm constantly, I don't put that stuff on a back burner and leave it all up to them. Meaning they'll do the day-to-day stuff and all the journaling and all that stuff and all the legal stuff. I ain't messing with all the trading, all the whatever. But I will look into things to say, hey, is this a valid thing we can do to save money or make money or whatever? And I'll send it to them. I'll shoot it to them. It could be a video I found on Google. Could be an article that I have. And when you got the right team, eventually, so I have bookkeeper, CPA, and financial team. They talk. They're on emails together. I'm in the conversation watching them speak.
That's good. That's powerful.
But it took years to get to that point. Years to get to that point. But you need to start now.
What's the first step for, you know, our base audience of people that are listening
to us? A CPA
to
should pay for themselves. Like you hear that, but definitely, truly. Like the CPA we're switching to already through an interview process. She pointed out one thing that my other CPA dropped. And when she told me the amount and the amount it'll be next year, she said, and that's simple. That's without me really diving in deep. And I was like, wow. And how much are you going to charge me? And she told me, and I was like, well, crap, you just paid for yourself. You just doubled it. Like hired. You're hired.
Right.
You know,
powerful.
Now, when you're first starting out and when your income's at a certain level, it is going to kind of just be going through the motions and checking boxes. So you got to be aggressive to get your income up and then know that there's a time when you're going to have to depart from that person.
Yeah.
Because at some point you need a CPA who's like the CPA we're hiring now, for instance, they actually take pride in trying. It's almost like they're contending for me because they gamify it too. How can I save Harold the most money? How, you know, Harold makes and Sam earn a large income. How do I help them keep most of that legally? And there's a game in it. That's the person you want. You want an advocate, like someone who's really contending for you, not checking off boxes. So
that's really good.
Yeah. I think the bookkeeping, if you can get someone to help with the bookkeeping, but it depends on what you got going on with your business too. Like how much stuff you have going on.
Yeah.
Some of it may not be necessary. I don't know.
Well, it's like, just like you said, you know, or I asked you is what's like the best first step because clearly, like, as you illustrated, we grew into that because our income grew us into that too, you know?
Well, and I'll say too, like, and then like financial planners, you got to watch. Like I was involved with some guy and I was a little naive, but I sniffed it out because usually my spider senses turn on. I realized that he just kept trying to dump me into certain insurance policies. I won't get into the specifics of the policies because some of those are important and some of them are fundamentals and foundations and you got to get that set up and then you build upon that. But he kept trying to roll me into one, into another. And I realized that's because the commission that he makes on all of that. And then you got to watch financial planners that constantly are trading because they're getting kickbacks and making money off that. So you really got to understand where are they getting paid from.
It's good Harold insight.
Because otherwise they'll just keep moving stuff around to make money and make commissions, and you're just not doing anything.
How do you find the right financial planner? Any tips?
Yeah, no, I'm not going to go there right now, but
that could be a whole other episode.
Yeah,
that's really good though, because that's people are going to want to take that next step and should, but
you need to leverage that. But I think
to look for.
Yeah, you need to leverage that, and I think the motivation is get your income so freaking high that becomes fun. That you really got to build that team.
So good. Yeah, I want to just pause real quick too, because I think listening to this, some people might be feeling overwhelmed. Well, like I had the thought when I started thinking about outsourcing, like, well, if I have to do this. If I have to spend more money to become more successful, then why do I want to make more money? Like, you know, that kind of
oh God, yeah,
reasoning
that's
was
a whole other podcast again. Yeah.
in my head. Like, is it even worth it? Again, being where we are now, I know like we have incredible time freedom and flexibility. And also really cool to know that we're a part of building someone else's income.
Yeah.
And we have so many more opportunities in life, ability to have adventures, and like, it's absolutely worth it. I mean, like when I think about our team and the things that, I mean, again, alone, and I'll get into personal assistant stuff next. So maybe I should just get into this next.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about a personal assistant and or house manager. This is often, I feel like this is kind of one of those steps that's similar to like a financial planner and stuff. Like this is going to be one of those things income wise that it's like a ladder. Like you're probably going to start with house cleaning and or childcare if you have kids. You're probably going to start with landscaping, and then you'll start adding maybe laundry, and then you're going to, you know, like it's going to grow with your income. I was just about to
say, I'm glad you said that. It's like a tier system.
Yes.
And then your goal should be, not should be, do whatever, whatever you want to do. For us, our goal was to outsource as much as these things. When we made this list,
we went from reluctantly
all of this. Yeah, exactly. But then it grew to, I want to outsource as much as this because it means I'm winning at a higher level. Mm-hmm. And again, when I'm winning at a higher level, other people are winning because I'm able to pay them to do things that I otherwise could not.
Exactly.
So.
And so I'll say personal assistant, like our personal assistant is far better at the things that we ask her to do than we are.
Yep.
Like reports that she runs for us, blocking my calendar, reading my email.
Event planning. We'll have ideas. We'll give her parameters, but yeah, she runs
parties.
with it. Negotiating contracts.
Yep. Travel, like you mentioned.
Now I might be able to negotiate a contract better. But
odd and task. Like there's just things like for me and my personality, I'm just highly ADD. I love to streamline focus on one thing, and I've learned how to work in my genius. And as soon as, how do you know what you need to outsource in this category? Does it like, do you feel heavy in your chest? Do you when you think about these things on your to-do list, like, do you feel overwhelmed and stressed and like, oh my God, how am I going to do this and also work my business? Like this is a whole list of other things that someone else can do and probably would gladly do for you. Like our personal assistant, she's, shout out to Rachel, amazing.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't even have to train her on the things that, a lot of things that she does for us, because she came in with the abilities to be organized, to micromanage certain projects.
And she's a virtual assistant, by the way, too.
Yeah, she's not in person.
And she's, I think, our third assistant. She's been with us the longest.
A couple of years.
So my point of saying that is, saying with CPAs and that, you're probably going to outgrow people, or sometimes you just got to cut the cord.
Yeah.
Because they're not serving you.
Well, it's just getting real with what your needs are. Like we had a, in-person assistant. I really, loved her and she was really great, but we realized we didn't really.
I think we were ahead of our time on that one.
We personal preferences too, as you're moving into these categories. Like, and we had her come into our house some days, and I quickly realized like, I don't want tons of people in my house all the time around my kids. Like they don't like that. Yep. And also just an independent person. I don't want people following me around actually. All day. Yeah. So, not that you're not an independent person if you do, but not my thing. So you just have to really get clear on what it is that you aren't good at doing or stressed out about doing. She's got a learning list. She knows our kids' birthdays. She knows my preferences for like our cake place. I send her a design. She sets it up, pays over the phone. It's amazing. And I send themes, and before you know it, we have all the things that we need to do, but I didn't have to stress out at all in preparation for a birthday, while we have a busy month in our business, while we're recording podcasts, while we're doing all the other things. Everything, for the most part, flows really well.
And this was an evolution. So we're painting a picture for those of you to go back to the beginning, when it's like that whole guilt and excuses of why you don't need to outsource. We're kind of painting a picture. It ain't to be braggadocious. It's to tell you it's an evolution. So I'll give you another example. And you tell me if this isn't worth it to you to win at a higher level to where you can operate in this realm. is, for instance, we just had our vehicle. I told her it needed an oil change. It needed to be serviced, basically. I told her that also some things were broke on it. It's a 2-year-old car. That's it. She called, set it up. They picked up the vehicle, took the vehicle. They actually had it for 2 weeks. They dropped off a rental car. I didn't do anything. She kept me in the loop on updating it. They returned it, I think, yesterday. Took the rental car, had a full tank of gas. It was done. I didn't have to do that. I didn't have to drive to the dealership 35 minutes away. I didn't have to wait. I didn't have to go back and forth with what needed to be repaired, what my expectations were. It was done.
Yeah.
This is winning at a higher level, and this is going to be an evolution. So we're just walking you guys through an evolution to where you can say, wow, they started off with a housekeeper or someone cleaning their house once a month. And this is the evolution. And all that time that I had to spent for that example I just gave you, I got to still continue to take my kids to school, to pick them up on the half day Friday, to go bowling, to go swimming, to do things, to move my business forward, to do more calls, looking at real estate right now. I was able to go look at a few properties where I could have been sitting in a dealership. Like, that's
dating your wife.
What I'm telling you. Yes. That's what we're trying to illustrate.
Look for people. Here's when it comes to outsourcing. Look for people who take pride in making your life simpler.
Yeah. Removing the stress so you can remain in your genius without cluttering the bandwidth.
Yep. Amen to that. All right, friends. I think this wraps this episode up perfectly. You got questions? Feel free to ask us on YouTube or Instagram, and share this with others. But remember, we're here because we believe that you deserve to live the life you desire. So go out and create your new American dream.